Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be speaking about the belief systems that destroyed my career and didn't allow me to make it as a professional footballer so that you can learn from me and go on to reach your potential. Now, what you have to understand when it comes to the mind is that your belief systems ultimately put you in a box. If you have a limited belief system, then you're going to be in a box of limitations. But if you have a limitless mindset, then you can go where you want to do and you can achieve what you want. So before we get into it, I have to mention that throughout my football career, I've been all over the place. Played with some elite coaches, elite players, elite teams, been on trial at many pro clubs. I've had a long career playing football from the age of 3 to stopping last year when I was 24. So yeah, trust me, I've been there, all the ups and downs, the mental battles, the hardships, the depression, the grind, the hard work. I've been there through all of it. So trust me, looking back now at my career, I definitely know what I'm talking about when it comes to the mind and having the correct mindset when it comes to playing football and getting to where you want to get to in your career. So much so that now I'm actually hired by professional footballers to help them elevate their mind so that they can elevate their career. And I've worked with players in the Prem down to League Two, players in Europe, players in Canada. So yeah, done a lot of work, but yeah, man, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to mention is that you have to understand, like I said before, how your belief systems really affect you in the long term, and you have to understand how the mind works. Now, if you have a certain belief system, you need to understand that the only thing true to you and in your reality is what your subconscious mind believes to be true. And your reality is created from your subconscious mind, meaning that if you have a certain belief system and it's ingrained inside of you, that very belief system would play out in your reality. And I'm going to give you my first belief system that I had that halted my career and ultimately led me down the road of hardships and hard times and put me into the state of always having to grind but never actually seeing anything from my grind. And that first thing is that I have to sacrifice everything to make it pro. That was my belief system around football. And I know that a lot of players have that same belief system. They believe that to go pro, they have to sacrifice their whole life, no fun, straight grind if they want to go pro. Now, am I saying that hard work and grinding is not necessary? Not at all. But what I am saying is that if you believe that you have to sacrifice everything to go pro, what you've done, number one, is that you have put going pro on the biggest pedestal ever. And you have to understand that when it comes to universal law and how the universe works and how reality works, is that if you want to achieve a goal, you have to be one with that goal. You only get what you have, not what you want. You get what you are, not what you want. So, for example, if you're here and making it pro is here, you've created all this space between you and your goal. And what that's going to do is, it's basically going to make it impossible for you to achieve it because you're only going to achieve it when you're mentally aligned with that goal, not chasing it. When you're mentally aligned with it. For example, a player like Ronaldo, all these elite players, they knew they were going to be elite. They knew they were going to go pro before they went pro. They were already aligned with that goal. Does that make sense to you? But someone like me who put going pro on such a pedestal, it kept me in a constant I was constantly chasing going pro rather than aligning with going pro. And because of that, I trained so hard. The opportunities I wanted didn't come because I didn't internalize my goals. I was constantly chasing them. I never felt aligned with them. I was always in this state of chasing, chasing, chasing. And because I made the impossible task in my mind of having to sacrifice everything, because I've set the the rule that if I don't sacrifice everything, then I won't make it, then because it's quite literally impossible to sacrifice everything, then because do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, because that was the rule and it's almost impossible to sacrifice everything, I never made it. Do you know what I mean? Because again, it's like I set the rules for my own life and so do you. Your belief systems are you setting the rules and the limitations and the box for your own life, for your own career, for your own goals. So what you have to do is find a balance when it comes to that. Of course, you have to work hard. Of course, you have to sacrifice. But my problem was that I was so on opposite end of the spectrum. I was either all in or I was not doing good at all. If that makes sense. Because this rule was so extreme in my mind, it made it so hard for me to maintain that high level of focus all the time, because inevitably in life there's going to be times where there's ups and downs, and because that rule was so strict in my mind, I kept falling into a trap of I'm doing really well, then I'm doing bad. There was no balance, there was no in between. So it led me to burn out a lot. I was always tired, I was getting injured. It was just a nightmare, honestly. So the next belief that I had in my football career and in my journey of football was that those in academies, pro clubs, or high level clubs are way better than me. That one was the first one, because what that did instantly was put me in an inferior position, not a superior one. You know, whenever I went on trial at a club, whenever I played a good team, or I went to a team that was really good, I just didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I was good enough. And just that belief system there is going to set you back, because the minute you get around players who are quote unquote better than you, you're going to crumble. And it's not even that they're better than you, it's just that they have more confidence than you. That's the only thing, because we've all played ball, we've all trained our whole life, we've all done the work. There is no difference between me and you, we're both human. The only difference is the mindset. Those players that have been there in academy setups for a long time, they just are confident in themselves. They feel like they deserve it. And I didn't feel like that, you know. I just didn't feel like I was up to that level. And because of that mindset, when I went to play, I didn't feel good. I didn't play good because I was so nervous. I wasn't confident in my own abilities. When I should have been, because looking back at it, like damn, like I was cold, you know what I'm saying? But it's all part of the journey, you know. Now I'm on this path of mentoring professional footballers, so it all worked out fine in the end. But yeah, like stop believing that players are so much better than you. Don't get twisted. There's ballers out there. But listen, if you've done the work and you've been training your whole life, go into them setups, them academies, to the new clubs, and believe in yourself. Know you are a baller. Trust in your journey. Trust in your journey. And that moves me on to my next point about my belief system. I did not trust in my journey. Like, honestly, looking back here, I've trained so much in my life, played football my whole life, but I didn't trust in the work that I did, because what I did was, rather than working on my mind, I always put the emphasis on my training, on what I do, the actions I take, but my mind was lacking. So my body was right, my skills were right, but my mind wasn't right. And your mind is the cap for what you can achieve, you know. If you have a limitless mindset, you can go on to achieve anything. But if you have a cap in your mind, That's it. You can go no higher than your mind. You can go no higher than your mind. And that's just facts. And ultimately, what I'm really getting at here is that you ultimately set your own rules for your own life. So, for example, if you have all these strict rules in your career that you have to go through before you can make it, then you're making the journey a lot harder than it has to be. Because even me and my journey looking around me, yeah, there was players who didn't work anywhere near as hard as me, who didn't do anywhere near the amount of training that I've done, who didn't do any amount of anything that I've done. But the only difference was that when they went to go play, they believed in themselves. They knew they were ballers. And because I just said earlier that the only thing true in your life, in your reality, is what your subconscious mind believes to be true, then because they believed that they were ballers, when it came to playing, they ripped it up. Now, again, I'm not saying don't work hard, but I'm saying if your mind ain't in the right place, then all that hard work is gonna have a limit on it, because the mind dictates what goes around you, not what you do in the physical. It's the mind first, physical after. So if you really wanna tap into your true potential, you have to get the mind right first. And I can help you with that, as I've helped many footballers with that. Currently helping a Canadian player. And one thing that we spoke about a long time ago before I began working with him was that he had a belief, and this belief is very common among footballers. The belief that for him to get from a smaller club to a bigger club, it's going to take loads of time. It's going to be a hard journey. It's going to be an uphill battle. And I know a lot of players have that same belief. Even me, when I was playing, I thought that if I want to go from this team to a pro club, it's going to be the hardest journey of my life. And guess what? Because you've said that, that is exactly how it will be. If you believe it's going to be a hard uphill battle, that's exactly how it's going to be, because you have to understand again how the mind works. The mind and universal law works for you. It's dictated by your belief system. So, for example, if you believe something about your career, the universe is going to work through you and give you that exact thing how you want it to be. And a lot of people unconsciously make their career path a lot harder for them. You know what I mean? But then there's players on the other hand who ain't got those limitations. They believe that I can get there with ease. It will be an easy journey. And because their mind is open to that, the possibility of it being easy is open. But if you believe it's going to be hard and tough and all this hard work and strenuous and strain, it's going to be exactly that. The ease, the smooth journey is closed off because your mind is closed off to that belief system. You know? And I've got loads of videos on how the universe works and on how universal law works if this is your first time seeing me. So you can always watch other videos and see that. But you have to understand, I'm gonna make it real simple. You get what you have internally. So whatever your belief systems are, is what you are going to materialize and manifest in your career. Now I want you to really, really think about your belief systems, even get a notepad right now. Think about your belief systems. What do you believe about football? Is football hard or easy? Is it a hard graft or is it a smooth journey? What do you believe about yourself? Are you worthy of making it pro? Are you good enough? Do you feel like you're good enough? Will it come quickly? Will it be a super hard journey? What will it be for you? And these things are what dictate your career. These things actually dictate your career. And what I want to say is that when it comes to belief, one thing that I really, really want to say is that if your belief system does not serve you, it is destroying you. If it does not serve you, it's not working for you. And One thing I've realized in my life through all my study is that if something does not serve you, you don't need to believe it at all. You don't need to have any negative beliefs regarding yourself. You don't. You can have a limitless mindset and you can believe whatever you want about yourself. You don't need any negative belief systems. You don't need to have a balanced belief system. Like, yeah, I'm good, but yeah, I'm decent at the same time. No. Believe in yourself to the max, to the complete and utter max. Delusional with your belief system. You can achieve anything with ease. And then you go and do the actual work in the physical after you've got the right mindset. And that is how you achieve what you want. You can achieve what you want if you believe and know what you want. Don't take on others' limitations. Don't take on others' belief systems because he couldn't do it, you can't do it. Nonsense. If one person can do it, then the possibility for you to do it is there. If one person can do it, then the possibility for you to do it is there. You can go to the top. You can go where you want. You know? Believe what you want. Write down your own beliefs that you want to believe about football and then go and believe them. Practice believing them. When you get a negative belief, process that thought, but change it. Say, no, I am this person. This is how I see it. Just because you get a negative thought about yourself doesn't mean it's true. But the longer you're able to hold what you want in your mind, the longer it will become true. Because again, like I said before, your reality is birthed from your subconscious mind. And the reason why you see negativity in your career is because you have negative beliefs. And those beliefs are deep in your subconscious. And they become true because the subconscious mind is always working. It's always working. And you have to understand as well about the subconscious mind is that it doesn't matter what is true or false. It only matters what is. So you can believe whatever you want. And if you're able to hold those beliefs for long enough, they're going to go into your subconscious mind. And that is when things are going to become a lot easier because now your mind is in the correct place. So when you take the action, when you go and train, when you go and play, it's all going to make sense. It's all going to come together. There's not going to be any barriers, all these hurdles that you've created for yourself. Don't get twisted. There's always going to be hard times in football. There's always going to be ups and downs. But the way you deal with the ups and downs are going to be a lot easier and smoother because your mind is now in the correct place. You know? You can believe anything you want about yourself. Go and write down your own laws about yourself and then go and live by it and see how your life changes. You know? Be brave enough to believe what you want about your life, about football, about yourself, about your own ability. You know? Don't let anybody tell you anything. Because one thing about the elite players, they don't care about what anybody has to say about them. Do you think Ronaldo cared ever about what people were saying about him? You know, do you think he cared? Look where he is now, because he didn't care. What's possible for you is not possible for him. That's why he's at the top. What's possible for that person doesn't have to be possible for you. You know, that's how it is. So really think about what you believe about yourself and change it if it doesn't serve you. Change those beliefs if it does not serve you. And go on and live by that. Live in it. Live there until you see what you want unfold. Because it will unfold. And that is universal law. If you can hold it in your mind for long enough, eventually it will materialize. That's how it goes. So if you want help elevating your mind so you can elevate your career and tap into your true potential, message me on Instagram at T9LevUp and we'll definitely get to work and go and get you to the next level. Love.